Hello guys, how are you? This is the build of the Revell 172nd PT-109 Elco boat, commanded by John F. Kennedy. And this is kind of a... I like it. I like this kit, but to be very honest with you, you have to have a bit of work on it. And even the work you have to do on it, you don't even know if it's real. There's no color picture of the PT-109, so you are working with the knowledge of all other Elco boats, Elco PT boats. But even so, the kit was a lot of fun to build, to paint. I got to do a lot of things painting this kit, some color modulation, paneling. It's fun, you know, it's fun. And it took me some time to build it, took me some time to paint it, even more time to start editing this video, but finally here it is. And I truly hope you like this kit at the end, and of course this video as always. The build of this kit is very straightforward. However, I advise you to do a lot of dry fit. This kit needs it. Also, there is, you can see me more ahead checking some internet pictures, and this boat had a chime on the middle of the water line, and that chime was not represented. Also, the bow plate at the bow of the ship, I didn't use the one that Revell suggested, because it's not even, I mean, I had to sand it down. And at the end I saw pictures of Elco PT boats without the bow plate, others with the plate. Maybe I had made that mistake of not putting the bow plate. I made it with strip styrene, with evergreen plastic styrene. Didn't place it because I saw some pictures where the bow plate wasn't present on this ship, on this boat, sorry. It was a bit, the lack of information on this PT-109. There isn't any pictures, as I told you, so it was a bit complicated to try to be the most realistic possible. As you can see here, the chime and the bow plate, well, I removed it. So I had to work a bit in the dark. I saw the movie PT-109 just because I have to had some visual reference of other PT boats, which in the movie it's actually pretty cool, pretty good, but not regarding the PT-109, you know. And the color was another, and it's still a bit of I don't want to use a very heavy word, but controversial issue, subject. But I think I could, well, deal with these issues a bit more or less according to the situations. You be the judge of it. However, it is an interesting subject, and Elco PT boats are very cool to assemble, to paint. This one doesn't bring, thank God, the wood deck, because the deck was not delivered in wood. It was a metal plate. So it's a very good change from the last mold of this one. Here I'm using primer from Mission Model paints. I advise you to use for 20 drops, for instance 4-5 drops of thinner for good measure. I here advise 3 or 4, and at the end I didn't saw 2 or 3 more escaping the bottle, but there's no problem at all with that. If you mechanically mix everything in the cup, part separated from the airbrush, it's good. These are fantastic paints. I really like it. Yes, guys, I am sponsored. They offered me a whole range, but the paints are they are worth it. Okay, acrylic, I just love the way they just fill the surface. Very good paints. See here in the chime, if the chime doesn't connect with itself, it has a space between. Okay, I saw some pictures where the chime was constant and it turned, and others where it was cut on an angle. I saw more pictures where it was where it had the interval, so I opted to do that, as you saw here. The interior of this boat was pretty good, modestly detailed. However, I wasn't interested in the interior. I painted it just the same. It's exactly as Revell suggests it, but I gave more importance to the outside of this boat, this Elco PT boat. And it is a very interesting boat. It lives a bit on its legend, you know. They were not that mean machine with a lot of success. By the contrary, they had its issues, its problems. Torpedoes in the early years, almost some even didn't detonate. Pilots and sailors of this ship sometimes sang a song, which you can see from one of the verses. Oh, some PTs do 70 knots and some do 69, but if we get ours going at all, we think we're doing fine. So it is very fun to know this. I researched this and found this song on the internet, and it's very, very funny. It's very ironic how sailors on these boats deal with the problem with the humor that they needed to go through the war, you know. And I really enjoy this kit. It helped me a lot through these crazy days that we are living in. And it was funny to see how many guys asked me, Alex, how is the PT-109 going? How is the video? And well, the video, here it is, guys. I think it speaks for itself. I'm not the modeler, don't want to be. This is just a hobby for me, but I had tremendous fun doing this one. It had its difficulties, its issues, but hey, this is modeling. This is not rocket science. Here it's not, everything is not exactly what has to be. We can improvise, we can adapt, can overcome. And at the end, if we have a PT-109 built, and if we like it, it's good. Here I am painting the interior white. As you can see, all the interior on PT-109 was white ensign. So matte white, I think it's enough to paint it. And I'm doing a bit of marble paint just to start and preparing the deck for the weathering, the faded green. And about the green, I just want to speak something more ahead when I start doing it. So you will see that the green is another controversy because, well, as I told you, there are no color pictures of this boat. So more ahead, I will share with you some ideas I had, and you'll be the judge of it if you agree or not. protect the clear parts, I used Mascol on both sides, and after all the work was done and the varnish applied, I removed it. This red is hull red. I know it with the lights, it looks like a bit more bright red, but it's not. It was toned down and faded, and it turned into a hull red. Elco PT boats were painted underneath with kind of a Rust-Oleum, I don't know if the word is correct, here it's Rust-Oleum, with a red rust color. So I thought I was applying, and I think I am applying here the correct tone of color. Also, I painted everything, but that's because I was having fun and I like to paint with the airbrush. I use a BARTSHARP 186 and I like it a lot. So, and more ahead I will start to apply the green. Now here, as you can see, I am using some internet drawings, and we can see that the green, it's not what we were hoping to be. Sometimes we use olive green, olive drab to paint American colors, not always, but sometimes. And again, there are no known colors of the PT-109. There are color photos of other PT boats later in a war in a green pattern camouflage. The boats were delivered to the Navy by the Elco plant in Bayonne, if I'm not wrong, painted in an overall gray, okay, with a gray deck, not bare wood, not bare wood. It has been determined along the time that, and generally accepted, that the boats in Kennedy Squadron in South Pacific, in this case, were just painted overall in kind of a home-brewed green paint. some advice to use a forest green. Whatever forest green is, I mean, forest green is a vivid green, right? So that's what I tried to do here. I used several types of green. At the end, I wanted to give you the impression that you are looking at a green, forest green boat with a lot of weathering. I mean, not a lot, but it was a seaworthy boat, so it is accepted that the boat had its own weathering, you know. So I leave it to your consideration at the end. This is my interpretation of PT-109. I tried to be as faithful and realistic as I could, in order not to disturb the idea of the boat and the meaning of this boat. And yes, it's not very usual to see this, to glue the deck. When I buy whiskey, I prefer a package with 1 or 2 cups. So I have a lot. They are glass, they are not too heavy, not too light, so perfect for this. And now some streaking grime with oils. I prefer to do several coats of weathering, light weathering, just fading the paint. And like I do one today, I work a bit on the boat. 4 days from now, I'll just do another coat, another layer of weathering, you know, subtle. And this way, the other layer of oils just dry and settle, and I can work on top. And if something goes wrong, I can activate both. So that's what I'm doing here. Building shades with a darker green, just to do a bit of weathering on the deck. Just each coat, one green on around the details, a bit darker. Just building the weathering, doing it with the paint instead of a wash, which will come later. Here you might be asking, why the hell didn't Alex first assemble the axis and the propeller and then paint it? Why the glue on top of the paint? Well guys, I found out later that the 3 propellers had a certain tilt, okay? They're not straight as Revell brings in the kit. So I had to make at least not to the 0 degrees of perfection, but I have to give it a little inclination, and that made me work in the hull a bit. Hence the small imperfections on the paint red that you see that will be covered. And because of that, I'm only applying it now. This is a price to pay when you're just use the kit to have fun, to clear your mind, and you don't do the research first. I was doing the research as I was going. You see, and well, this happens, okay? What matters is that you do it at least correctly, and the paint here, the hull is protected with a clear coat, satin coat, sorry, and it was stone dry, so it was safe. Bit of highlighting here, just like in armor. Here with the sponge, I am just gently tapping on the surface with a lighter tone of green. I want to disrupt the paint to create some disruption, visual disruption in the surface. When you look at the paint, you can, because of that, it gives you the impression of metal texture, you know. And because it's one of the small pleasures in life, this time it's a 15-year-old Scotch. So for all of you, cheers. And don't forget, if you're driving, don't drink. And here I saw some PT-109 kits built and painted alongside on the bow of the ship, of this boat. Sorry, I keep saying ship, of this boat, with the giant letters PT-109. But as I said previously, unless you are trying to build the boat for the inaugural parade of JFK, I mean, on South Pacific and South Pacific, boats didn't have these gigantic numbers on side. They were very discreet regarding this, their registration number. Here I tried to do some wood grain, because this 40 millimeters, I think it is a 40, 20 or 40, correct me in the comments below please, was added to PT-109 just a few days before the accident, before it was rammed and sank. So I tried to do a little bit of wood grain and to give it a metal texture on the cannon. I just would like to say, guys, sorry for taking so long to do this build and this video, and for the long periods that I have been without editing a single video. I don't like to be always using this as an excuse, but these are crazy times we're living in. I have indeed, thank God, a life out there. It's a public service job, let's say, and it demands a bit. All I can say is that I am trying to keep modeling, and that always with a smile, of course. I am doing right now the Victory 100th scale from Eller, and I intend to do a series on it because it's very long build. And so guys, for my Patreons and for all of you, I am sorry. I will try to edit videos a bit more frequently, and again, so sorry for it. And I use some thin tube strip styrene to do some shell casings. On the machine gun, I know, on the 50 cal, I know that there are a bag that captures the casings when they are ejected. Even so, I thought it was fun. And on the 20 or 40 millimeters, I think it's 40. Correct me if I'm wrong again, and I'm sorry. I thought it was, well, an interesting detail to put along. I know, and we know that the PT-109 crew never got to fire this cannon in anger. I do believe that deep down we all wish that they did that. So it's kind of a detail. It's kind of a, well, it's just a simple detail to try to enhance a bit more the surface. And after placing the stars and stripes and a few touch-ups here and there, I finished this build. Finally got to edit this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, considering subscribing and hit that notification bell. And if you want to support me, I also have a page in Patreon. I'm there only to keep my hobby sustained. That's all I want. Nothing more, nothing less. And guys, thank you. Sorry for the delay. Thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this one. Any critics, comments, please comment below. And as always, guys, as always, keep modeling, guys. Keep modeling. Always, always with a smile. More than ever, with a smile. Cheers.